Yes.
fine.
We
I
might have
hope
to
so.
shout.
Okay. Well, usually we don't, and we're fine. And you're a little bit over.
Okay, let's see if there. How's that? Is that good?
That looks good to me. So.
Okay, we don't have a filmer today, so it's gonna be me and Michelle. Gail is sick, so I'm sitting in.
Oh, yeah. I hope she's watching. I hope you're watching, Gail. We miss you a lot. I hope you feel better soon.
Yeah, I hope you're in bed cozy and just getting better.
Yes, not getting blown around.
Because I know how busy you are, and I know you don't sit
Mhm.
still, and maybe this was the universe saying, stay in bed.
Yeah, and sit still. Take care of yourself. Slow down. What is today all about?
So today's Quiltique, or not Quiltique,
Quilt Talk.
which is a great store.
Quiltique Talk.
Yeah, Quilt Talk. Today's Quilt Talk, Michelle,
is threads.
we're going to talk about thread.
Yes.
And I'm trying to bring it up here so we can see comments and everything. And here we go. Let me make sure I am muted here.
Good morning.
All right.
There's my sister is on. Hi, Darlene.
That's your sister, Darlene Martinson.
Yes.
There's a lot to talk about today.
Oh boy, this is just scratching the surface. I even wrote up some stuff for us to kind of go by. Oh boy, for what kind of threads there are. This is what I kind of came up with. Okay, 6-strand embroidery floss, pearl cotton, tapestry wool, cotton, poly, rayon, silk, poly wrap poly, cotton wrap poly, mercerized thread. You guys may have questions on what is mercerized thread. Like when I go to just like the big box stores or whatever, and you just like Coates and Clark, I just get that. It'll say mercerized. This one is not mercerized, it's poly, covered poly. But mercerized thread, I'll read this what I found. Let's see. It's been around a ton. Its popularity among sewers, blah, blah, blah. It stands out from other types of thread because it offers superior strength and durability, plus an amazing range of colors which can be used in any projects. What makes this thread even more impressive is its ability to maintain its shape through repeated washings. No matter what type of fabric or design you're working with, this thread will keep your stitches looking beautiful time after time. They do a chemical process on the thread. I didn't put that in here because it was like super involved. If you want to really find out about mercerized cottons, you can look it up on the internet. There's tons of stuff. But they chemically treat it and they dye it, and it's a very popular general all-around thread that you can use for a lot of stuff. But you know, us quilters and embroiderers, we need threads that are specific to what our project is. Our hand sewing, we want specific threads and things that we use in our projects because we want to make them look the best possible. It's not like we're on an assembly line just pushing stuff through, you know. So we have an array of things here today.
Okay, so let's talk quilting. And, well, let's talk piecing. Because I think most people do a lot of piecing that are on here, and you're sewing together your pieces.
Yes.
What is your favorite thread to use for piecing?
My go-to is a 50 weight. This is Aurifil. Aurifil is 100% cotton. The kind I use. Aurifil is a big company, so I'm sure they probably have poly also. But the one I like is the one that we mostly see, the 50 weight. And on, see on there, it says 50-2. 2 is how many plies are in this thread.
Oh.
Yes, because mostly we'll have 2-ply or 3-ply. And most serger threads like that we use for our home sergers, like the Maxi Lock, is a 2-ply thread. And we know that because of the text. They don't have the weights in this. It's a text. And I just so happened that I found on the internet have a thread conversion chart which shows text.
Okay, so maybe that's something we can post on our sew along group to share with you.
Yeah, like this, for instance, at text 27 is a 62 weight thread. Because, and the reason for that on your serger, it's, you know how 50 weight is a thin thread, but 62 weight is even thinner. The higher the number, the thinner the thread.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that too. So we'll talk about weights of thread. Let's go back to the quilting, the what you're using to piece though.
Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna keep
Yes, because there's many rabbit holes, and I will go down every one of them. So
as far as, and a lot of people love Aurifil. What we use in our shop is we carry Wonderfil, and we carry their confetti, which is going to be similar to Aurifil, and then we also carry the 2D, and you'll see Michelle and I use a lot of that. The 2D is going to be the variegated, and I am just like.
So what weight is that?
This is 50 weight. It's going to be totally comparable to the Aurifil. I think similar quality, a little bit lesser in price. But I mean, everyone loves Aurifil. It's like cult classic, right?
I know.
I have Aurifil in my collection too.
Like this one, so fine. Now the difference between these though, like Aurifil
is this what you're using for piecing as well?
Yes, it's a 50 weight. But look at, there's a 3 after it. If you look on there, it said, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. But right here, there's a 50-3. And then on the Aurifil, there's a 50-2.
So that's 2-ply, meaning it's 2 strands, and this is going to be 3 strands.
Yeah, so this can be a little bit stronger because you got 3 strands. But it's going to be thicker also. Not thicker, it's the weight. Thread is very interesting. I was really diving into this, and it goes by weights and meters, the tensile on the weight of thread and how it's made, and then it also goes into the staples in the cotton. I have a little thing here that, look at that's triobal poly. The staples on cotton, they're short staple, long staple, extra long staple. So you'll want something, at least a long staple or extra long. Short staple is the way they make it with the little cotton balls, and they take the fibers out of the cotton ball. And it's in sizes, and the short staples, they tend to be really linty and stuff. It says on here that if it does say,
I'm hearing things I've never even heard before.
Like the short staple, the long staple, the fibers are between 1 1/8 to 1 1/4 inch in length.
Is that something we should be looking for on our thread? Does it even say that when you go to buy it? How will we know?
Well, the only thing I found is what was written on here on the short. Says, let me see. For short staple, they're practical choice for items not destined for longevity or heavy use.
Got it.
And then for like the long staple is what we mostly see. There's less lint, means less buildup, less time cleaning your machine, and most importantly, more time quilting.
And you guys see that. You see that when you're using certain threads, you'll see it'll be really linty. When you're long arming, you'll see that with certain threads. And Michelle will talk to you about that.
All cotton.
Let's talk about piecing a little bit more. And I
wanted to answer one question you asked me about. Does it say? It does not say, but there's one thing on here for the extra long. It said there's a reason why every cone or spool of thread that uses the extra long staple cotton will print extra long staple on it, or the abbreviation ELS, because it's the best cotton fiber, because it's the longest, and when it all comes together when they're making it, the longer the fibers, the less breakage you have, the less lint you have. So
because it's all one piece. Is that it?
It's not all one piece, but they're fibers.
Yeah.
So the fibers are woven together and they make up 1 ply. And then you get to the thread like Aurifil's 2 ply. So fine is 3 ply. So that is the fibers coming together when they make it.
I wonder what
poly.
this is.
That's poly.
So if you guys know me, you know my favorite thing to piece with is Deco Bob.
That's polyester.
Yeah. But polyester isn't like the polyester of like 30 years ago.
Nope.
You're going to get, it's different quality than it used to be. So if you look at this, and I'm going to show you this, we're going to look at, you've got your Aurifil, and I'll just bring the camera in here. So I don't even know if they're going to be able to see that. Maybe we'll put it on something.
On a white piece? White right there? Or?
I don't know if they'll be. Yeah. So, here. Yikes. we'll do our best with our filming here. We're going to be switching back and forth. Now you get a big view of my head.
Because I want to show this one along
Yeah,
with that.
so let's take a look at threads. And so Michelle was talking about weights of threads. Do you want to explain to them like different weights of threads? And we have some pictures here to show you too, or some stitch outs.
Oh yeah, this is really nice stitch outs. So 100 weight thread, which I have 100 weight thread, and it's in one of these my specialties, is the micro quilter.
And we carry, what we carry here in the store is going to be
right
Invisifil, which is another, this is Superior, which is, does Superior do?
Yeah, this is Superior. Superior does all of them.
Okay, and this is a 100 weight thread.
Yeah, so if you look.
And this stitch out right here is going to be the same design, and we just use different weights of thread so you can see it. So Michelle's going to show you her 100 weight.
So we should show it like next to other weights. I don't know if you can see that.
Maybe I'll just put
Where's
it
your
here
deco
in my
bob?
hand for you. So that's going to be at 100 weight.
And put the deco bob on there so they can see. And then we'll put the 50 weight next to it.
Something that will be better contrast.
Are there any questions? I don't see any questions. I don't see where the questions would come up. So
in the comments.
I don't see that there's any questions.
Here's something with a little darker contrast.
Okay, so then this top one is the 100 weight.
This is 80.
So it's very, very close.
Oh,
and then where's
60,
the
we've got
Aurifil?
fine
Oh, where's
line.
my Aurifil?
Do you have a 60 weight?
No. Oh, yes, I do.
grab a 60.
Yes, I got it right here.
You got a 60?
Yes. This is what I use in my bobbins when I embroider.
And 60 weight, a lot of times what we carry here in the store is going to be fine line. And this is something that you're going to use, like if you were to use it for embroidery.
This is bottom line.
We use this when you want fine detail. If you're doing font, if you're doing Cinderella's eyelashes, we go 60 weight.
Yeah, so okay.
And
I got a great big knot, you guys. So here you go is the 60 weight.
yeah, our
So
60 weight.
180 and 60. And then here's the Aurifil 50 under
You're
that.
going to see it getting a little bit thicker.
And it's cotton. Cotton as opposed to the polyester. Polyester does not have any fuzz or lint on it. That's why your machines stay clean, relatively clean.
I'm going to throw in a 40 weight. Most of your embroidery thread is going to be 40 weight. That's going to go right here.
Nope, it'll go down here. Because it's 180, 60,
yes,
50,
yes.
40.
Yes. Here's our 50. But I find that my 50 weight cotton feels heavier and looks thicker than my 40 weight. I don't know what you think.
That's because you said cotton and one's poly. Cotton has like a little fuzz on it.
So it looks thicker.
It does. And this one's a Tex 39, which this is just a Coates and Clark. And I think the Tex 39, let me look. I have my chart. 39 is about a 40. Tex 40 is a 40 weight. Tex 35 is a 50 weight. So if this is a Tex 39, it's probably going to be close to a 40 weight right there in cotton as opposed to the poly. Because you said that poly was 40 weight?
That's 40 weight.
Yeah.
Here's a 30 weight.
See, but that's
What's
poly,
this?
and this is 40, almost 40 weight in cotton.
Here is a 30.
What weight are the Filtech pre-wound bobbins? Those are
60.
Yeah, 60 weight.
This is a 30 weight. So here's a 30 weight poly.
Is this for your thread on top only? No, these threads are all different. I use the 60 weight in the bobbin, and that's this one right here, this third one down. The top one's 100 weight. You can use that in your bobbin too, but then you start having tension issues and you have to adjust your tensions and stuff. And I know a lot of people don't like to adjust tension. So the 60 weight is kind of the basics. I use my 100 weight and 80 weight. I use it for piecing. I use it on the long arm. I use it for my bobbin. I'll use it for everything. When I really want my seams to come together and not have a bunch of bulk. But like, let me see. This is what there's also the Superior Omni is what I use in my long arm, and I use it for everything. This is like my workhorse, and this is poly wrapped poly, and it looks like a 40 weight cotton. This is 40 weight poly wrap poly, and it's got the same texture. Let me get a little bit more. It's got the same texture as a cotton, and but it acts like a polyester, so it's got a lot of strength, but it looks like cotton, and it acts like poly, where you don't have a bunch of lint buildup in your machine and stuff. Was that a 12 weight?
Okay. Now we're going to get into, this is actually, yes, specialty thread. And when you start getting into these threads like Razzle and Dazzle, these are another wonderful product. This isn't going to be for sewing.
What's the weight on it?
I think this one
should be on the bottom.
Is this one 12 or 18? 1 to 5, 12 or 18.
Is it wait, what does it say?
I can't remember this. I'm pretty sure this is 12 or 8.
Well, it says 2.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't have it on here.
This is either 2-ply.
This is either 12 or 8, and now we're talking serger. This is what we're going to put in our loopers. You're not going to run this on your machine unless you have a machine that's tensioned for heavy thread. But this is stuff that looks beautiful and just makes a statement. So
yeah, that's for old decorative stitching.
But right here, this is kind of where you're going to stay if you're on your sewing machine. Unless you're doing bobbin work and you're going to wind it and put it in the bobbin.
Yes, but like you mentioned, serger, and like the reason like this maxi lock stuff that you have is a 2-ply Tex 27. This is like for when you're just doing stuff on your serger where you're using all 4 threads. You're doing some kind of, I don't know, just you're sewing kids' clothes or something, you know, and you want to have a like a 2-ply thread, a thinner thread, so there's not all that buildup in your seams. Because there's 4 threads at least, 3 or 4 threads at least going through that machine, sometimes up to 8. Or God, I don't even know how many threads can be on a serger.
Let's close out on our piecing, and then we'll move on to like the next thread.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. So, and you're going to hear different things from different people. Michelle loves Orifal. I know a lot of people piece with that.
So fine too.
And she likes so fine. I am Deco Bob all the way because it's an 80
I would
weight.
love Deco Bob too.
Do you piece with it at all?
Yeah, but I already have micro quilter, so once
okay.
Once I run out,
I would. Do you piece with micro quilter?
Yeah.
So what I love about this is going to be an 80 weight, so it's half the diameter of your 40 weight. But it's a cottonized polyester, and it's going to have the strength of your 40 weight. So you get the strength of the 40 weight with a thinner thread, and it's less bulky in your seams. So
you said cottonized polyester. What?
I don't know. It's either means it's polyester wrapped in cotton or it's cotton wrapped in polyester. It's one or the two.
I think what it means is just like this. See how this is? This is poly wrap poly. But doesn't it look like cotton?
It looks like cotton.
It's got like little fuzzies on it.
So this is cottonized polyester?
This is 100% poly.
100% poly.
So
but
it's
it looks like cotton.
Poly.
Yeah, poly wrapped.
So it looks like fuzz and stuff, but I don't get all the buildup. I was telling them when you stepped out a second that this is my workhorse on the long arm. I use this for piecing too, though.
You use it for
even
piecing
though it's 40 weight. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, if I don't care about the bulk, I use that.
Right now I love my Orifal, and I use it when I sew sometimes, and I love these. But I always piece with that. But so let's go on to let's talk about quilting thread, right? You have so many different options, and there's no wrong answer.
Well, the quilting, I told them a little bit about that too. I would use any one of these in my long arm.
Love that.
I would. I've used the micro quilter, put it in my bobbin, everything. And the Sew Fine. A lot of people will use the Sew Fine 50 weight, and they use bottom line, which is a 60 weight for the thread and bobbin.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So what do you like? So you're saying that you'll use any of these for the upper thread?
And lower.
And you'll use them for the lower?
Yeah.
I've heard people say that, I'm going to turn this to us let's go ahead and turn this to us. Whoops. Sorry, guys. So let's talk about, because I've always wondered, and you're going to be the expert on it. What do you prefer when you are quilting as far as weights, top and bottom? Because I've heard you don't want them to battle, and so people will go lighter in the bobbin and higher. What do you do as an expert, somebody who like quilts 300 quilts a
At
year?
least. So what I do, well, you have to find what you're comfortable with. And then you want to look at whatever brand machine that you have and then see what they recommend. And then you go off and do whatever you want. Because you guys
And
know
what
that's
works for
what we
you?
do. That's what we do.
What works for you?
I have a gamel, and what works for me is, number one, I'm not afraid of my tension. I know my machine. I'm comfortable with my machine. I practiced with my machine when I first got it. Did a lot of hand stuff. Took things that didn't mean anything and just quilted and tested. And I've come to the conclusion that what I like best is if I'm using micro quilter 100 weight on the top, I'm using it in my bobbin.
So you match.
I match my threads every single time. I match the color because I don't, if my tension is off just a little bit where it looks like you get little pokies from the back,
Yeah, the little
it's the
pinholes.
same color.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. Once you wash that quilt anyway, it mostly fluffs up around it and you can't see them anyway.
Okay, I have another question for you. What are your top 3 threads for quilting?
Chop, workhorse, without a doubt, no problem. Superior thread.
Okay,
The
and what
superior-
weight?
the
Is
Omni.
there
It's a 40 weight.
It's a 40 weight. That's her workhorse is going to be her
It
40
is.
weight.
This is what I put on.
Okay, and then if the world took that away from you,
So fine.
and is that again another 40 weight or
No,
what
this
weight?
is 50 weight.
Okay,
And
a
I would
50
use the
weight.
50 weight in the, but we're getting a little closer to the 60 weight. And I'm going to look and see what am I quilting on. If I'm quilting on a t-shirt quilt, am I quilting on something real fine and delicate? Am I quilting on something a little bit heavier? What does the piecing look like? What are the seams I'm going over?
So heavier quilt, heavier everything. You'll go heavier thread and more delicate.
Not
No.
as a rule, but is it set in stone? No, because there's always variations. There's
Okay.
always, to get the very best, because I want to get the very best out of what I'm doing, because I'm doing it. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to make it good.
How do you feel about quilting? Are these both cottons?
Superior's poly wrap poly, 100%
Okay.
poly. This one is poly also, but you know what? If I had a cone of Aurifil 50 weight, 100% cotton, I'd use it. Signature is cotton. I use this too. This is almost gone, but
So pretty.
yeah, it's variegated. So I was gonna say this variegations there's a lot.
How
But I totally use Signature too. That's my.
we
I guess these are my top 3.
okay.
Oh well, this too.
Okay, here are her tops. So if you are a quilter and you're struggling with thread and you want to have some recommendations from somebody who's an expert, here are some of the ones that Michelle is using. I wonder if it's backwards for you. Are you seeing it backwards? Yeah, you're seeing it backwards. I don't even know how to flip that. And then here's Superior variegated.
Signature.
I mean, I'm sorry, Signature variegated. Sorry.
100% cotton. A lot
blurry.
of lint. You really know when you're working with the cotton because the lint is just, oh my goodness.
Is that
There
is that
a lot.
is that the advantage of working with a synthetic? Is it's not going to be as linty?
Yes, and that's the reason I choose the poly over the cotton is the lint every time, because they both stitch up great. It does not, like someone says, well, my quilt is 100% cotton, my batting's 100% cotton, I want 100% cotton thread. In a heartbeat, I go to cotton. That's what they want. I'll do it.
So will you match? Because a lot of times in the store, I'll when people ask about threads, I'll go, a lot of people like to match their thread to their project. So if they're working with cotton fabric, they want cotton thread. If they're working with a synthetic, they might want poly.
It
Doesn't matter anymore. Does it?
No, it doesn't, because the way they make it now, you get
It's
really good
so
results.
good.
Yes, but
All
if
of it's
someone
so
wants
good.
it, some people are like, kind of old school. This is what I want.
Yes.
And it's yours. You get what you want. I will use 100%, but if they don't care, we pick out the colors and I tell them this is poly. And they go, ooh, I like it, but, and then I show them something else.
Yeah.
And they go, I'll go with the poly.
Yeah.
It doesn't shrink up.
It's not like
this
it
is not
used
gonna,
to be.
Yeah, it's not gonna be an issue with shrinkage in your thread as much as like you're batting in your fabrics. So, no.
I have another question for you. So, when I did research about what kind of, I just went on looking at what kind of thread are people using for quilting on their long arms. I had a lot of people, and I have people come in here and ask for glide. So they're asking for glide embroidery thread. Yep. How do you feel about threads that were traditionally for embroidery, like isocord, glide, using that for quilting?
I love it at Christmas.
Ah!
Because it's a polyester.
Okay.
100% polyester. This is 100% polyester. It does not. The only thing is it's slippery.
Yes.
This is not slippery because it has like a little fuzz on it. It looks like cotton.
And it's not as shiny, right?
Yeah.
So this looks just like cotton.
Yeah, I put it in my bobbin and the top. I just like everything. I do adjust my tension because it's slippery. I need to put a little bit more tension on my bobbin and my top. I do just a little bit on both. And another tip too is what I do, like if I have a certain bobbin just for micro quilter. I've tweaked that bobbin, got it perfect.
So a bobbin case?
A bobbin case.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes. So it would, in my opinion, it would be best to get multiple bobbin cases for your machine. If you're going to use this, you can tweak it and have it right and take all the time it takes to get this thing right. And then next time you're going to use it, all you have to do is use this bobbin case.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And we actually, like when we sell long arms, we'll have them get an extra bobbin case. Our PQ 1600s, we always have them get an extra bobbin case so they can tension it for thick threads, because that can become a slippery slope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I have adjusting like your bobbin case if you're scared of it.
Yeah, no, I have 4 or 5 of them. I just don't want to take the time. I don't have the time to do that. So when I mostly,
and do you mark your
this
bobbin case? Like, do you have it? How do you know which bobbin case is for what thread?
Because I leave the thread in it.
And you know.
Yeah, the bobbin's in there with the thread. I'm going, ooh, that's micro quilter, because you can pick it up and just touch it and you go, ooh, okay.
Yes.
And I have pre-wound bobbins, and I rarely use pre-wound bobbins.
Are you talking about for quilting or for everything?
For quilting.
Okay. All right. What thread do you want to talk about next?
Oh my goodness.
There's so much. Okay. Get ready.
Let's tell them a trick. I want to show you guys how to keep your bobbins on your spools. Do you ever have it where you have your threads and they're all hanging everywhere and you're going, oh my God, I have thread everywhere. Well, this is glide, and on the bottom they have the little piece. See?
Yeah. Do you guys see that?
Yeah, it comes out.
And some people don't know this.
Put my thread around it and I leave a tail, and then you just pop it down. It locks your thread in.
Yeah.
And then when you take it out, all you got to do is just pull that tail, pulls it out, you're ready to go. And it just pops
So you'll
out.
have that on glide. You'll have it on isocord, exquisite. I think Robinson Anton has that.
But look at Coates and Clark. They have one on both sides. I don't know if you know. Here, let me open this. A little bit tough, but it comes up.
I did not even know those had those.
See? I just did the one side. It's on both. So then, because I have my thread in this one.
Did you guys know that had that?
See? And then on Metler has it too. It doesn't really come up or down. It's got like little pegs in there. And then you I think it does come up. Does it?
I don't think so. It's kind of like rigid, and you kind of pull it in place.
So you just push it in. So Metler's got that on there. And then, but like this stuff, there's just a little slit in the bottom like the old-fashioned days, And you just put it in there. Or Hugo's amazing tape. Jeanne has this. And I have it around one of my specialty, because
I'm going to come down here and we'll go ahead and show them.
See,
different ways to store your thread.
Oops,
and I don't think they make that color. They should make it in colors, because so the one that has Michelle has is circa 1995, I think she said.
So you can put this on there and you make it a little bit longer. You just lay it down and let it wrap around to itself, and it sticks. That's it. And it holds your threads really, really nice.
So it looks kind of like tape, but it's thicker and it clings.
Yep, and it's just...
And they only sell it in clear now.
And it comes Oh, yeah. Okay.
They
so I
only
was
sell
gonna
it in clear
ask.
now. They sell in 1 inch and 2
Yeah.
inches.
Yep. So, and you could even take this and you could make it a little thinner if you have little spools,
Yeah.
but it sticks. It lays on itself and it sticks, kind of like press and seal or
You know,
something. But
another thing
yeah.
I love is they're called thread wraps, and they look like this.
Oh yeah.
And I
Those,
love
yeah.
these because I have my Hugo and I use it like on some of my thread, but sometimes I just throw it away because I just don't even know that it's there. And so these just kind of go and they wrap around. So if you have your thread and it's making a huge mess, you can just like clean like that. And these are just thread wraps, I think.
I think that's what
Made by
they're called,
Gypsy
yeah.
Quilter. So those are really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So lots of different ways to store your thread.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about what kind of thread. Let's talk about serger thread. Okay, because we have a lot of thread to cover. So Michelle has some maxi lock. When it comes to thread, I always tell people you don't have to buy the most expensive, but you can because most of the time you're going to get what you pay for. I always say just don't buy the cheapest. That
Yeah.
being said, I have some cheap thread in my collection because it's the right color.
I know it's the stuff on Amazon that does not have a brand and stuff.
But you get what
Maxi-Lock-
you pay for.
Yeah, Maxi-Lock is really pretty cheap. I would not use Maxi-Lock for piecing because it's a
Oh,
short,
yeah.
short staple 2-ply.
not strong enough.
It's not gonna hold up. I would not use it in garments.
Wait.
Only if you're serging, not
Yeah.
on a regular machine where you only have the top and bottom stitch.
You're going to use Maxi Lock for serging. I had somebody come in and they were having issues with their long arm. I said, bring everything you're working on. I want to see it all. And they were quilting with serger thread.
Yeah, I would never
Don't
put that on
do
my
that.
on the on
Don't
my
do
long
that.
arm.
It's not strong enough. When you are serging, a lot of times you're using between 3 to 4 threads at a time. This is made specifically for serging. I love Maxi Lock for my serger. And then there's
Except for one thing, I can think of if you're doing a chain stitch on your serger, I would up the thread.
because your chain stitch is going to be 2 threads,
It's a one thread,
but there's a top and a bottom.
not on a chain stitch.
Are we talking about on the serger?
A chain stitch just goes through. It's one thread. Is that on the
You
cover
have-
stitch? Cover lock machine?
You have 2
Well, I know you
doing
got
a
your
chain
bottom
stitch.
loopers.
Yes.
Is it on? No, maybe it's on the cover stitch.
On the baby lock? There's
Yeah.
2 threads. 1 looper and 1 upper.
Well, I know, but you're talking serger, or you're talking serger that adjusts into a cover lock, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about just a cover lock machine. See, I've got just a single cover lock machine. I can put 1 thread on it, does a chain stitch. And that's like when you go to the feed store and you can
Yes.
take that one and rip that bag, you got 1 thread.
Yes.
That's the chain stitch I'm talking about.
Yes.
I would not use that then. I would use a thicker thread.
Yeah, you could use
Whenever
a thicker
you're
thread for
sewing
that.
all your feed bags.
Yeah, if you're doing something like that, you're definitely gonna want something heavier.
Yes.
In our store, when we do like classes and we do the chain stitch, sometimes we'll do it with a single thread, but it's not gonna be something that you're using to like.
No, it's decorative.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
decorative, but a lot of times we will use a heavier thread because it's just gonna be
Should we
prettier
show
for that
us,
chain
or do you wanna
stitch.
Should we show us?
Oh,
Instead
no. I
of
think
thread?
it's good
Oh,
to,
okay.
to do
Okay.
this. So, serger.
And then I do have one thing. I have an industrial serger, and I do not use that on my industrial serger. I use the signature
Yeah.
cotton on there.
Yeah, and there's other threads that you can use.
And that is a 40 weight. Yeah, it's a Tex 40, so it's 40 weight.
Other things you might use when you're on your serger, there's things called woolly, and lots of different brands make them, and you're going to see they're puffy. And what that does is when you're doing something like a rolled edge, if you have like little gaps in between, it'll fill those in and it'll make it look more luxurious.
Yeah, on the spool it looks thin, but once you use it, then it puffs up. So you can really see it.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Woolly's magical. In our store, what we carry Arrow Flock.
Yep,
But there's
that's what I
Woolly
use.
Nylon, there's YLI, so there's lots of different brands, and you're just going to see it's poofy. So, what other specialty threads do we use for our serger?
Oh, just for serger?
Yep. We'll cover one thing and then we'll go to
That's
the
all I
next.
can think of.
I use a lot of floss in my serger, and that's going to be, or I'll use things like this, and they're just going to be thicker. and it's just gonna make
Is that
make
just
your
in the
project.
upper loopers?
It's gonna be in the loopers, either looper.
Really?
Lower
loopers,
because
yeah.
loopers are the ones that it's gonna fit into.
Right.
So that's where you can start to play with some really, really fun threads. Wonderful makes a lot of fun threads for the serger.
Doesn't that just, you put it in the lower loopers and then you just have to make
You
sure
put it in
project.
the upper or lower looper.
Oh, the upper or oh,
yeah,
okay.
not in the upper threading, not through the needles, but you're going to put it in your loopers.
Oh, okay, so that is
your
lower.
Upper and low. Well, there's two loopers. They're the upper and lower looper. They're both down in the bottom.
Right. Oh, that's right. Okay.
So
it's been a while since I've used my serger.
Anyone have any questions about thread for the serger? Because if not, we'll move on because we have so much to cover.
Oh, someone wants to explain the micro quilting. The micro quilter thread is the same kind of quilting you can use, but what it does is when you stitch two pieces of fabric together, like say this, and then you fold it over, there's a place in here where it comes together, say it's sewn right there on the seam. Where it comes together, that thread is going to take up some space. It doesn't matter. It's in there. This thread is going to take up more space than this very, very thin hair-like thread. So it's called micro quilter. So you just have to, if you want really precise piecing, you have thinner fabric or even just your quilting cotton. The micro quilter thread is used to where it comes together with not a lot of bulk. Some people are really interested in keeping that bulk down. And if you have a bunch of seams, you may want to use a thinner thread to help with some of the bulk where the seams are coming together. And when you're ironing your pieces flat, some people, if you have a thicker thread, they'll say use a scant 1/4 inch when you piece. That could be sometimes because you have a thicker thread.
Yeah. So think about if you're doing, like, I know sometimes when I'm paper piecing and some of those that when it comes together, there's a lot of bulk there.
Yeah.
That's why I love this. And I think Deco Bob's going to be equivalent to your micro quilter, right?
It is. This is 100 and that's 80.
This is 80.
So they're really, really close.
Yeah.
Like English paper piecing and stuff, you can hand quilt with this. Very, very nice. You don't get a lot of bulk. And another thing that the micro quilter is good for, which we'll kind of touch on, this specialty, this monofilament thread.
Are we talking stitch in the ditch?
No, we're just talking.
Or applique?
I personally can't stand monofilament thread because I use micro quilter in place of that, because even if it's top stitched and you can see it, the thread is so thin, like the Deco Bob, it disappears into your project.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, because and you're gonna hear different things from different people.
Right.
I love monopoly.
And I hate it.
Yeah, and Michelle hates it. I love monopoly. I use it when I stitch in the ditch because sometimes I come out of the ditch, and when you're using monopoly, you don't really see it. But there are, and I don't always use the bobbins. I usually, they do make matching bobbins. Don't try and wind it yourself. It's going to just make a huge mess. And they sell it in smoke, and I use that for my dark colors, and I use this for my lighter colors.
What about your tension with it?
Fine.
Do you do anything with the tension?
I don't do. I might turn my tension down a little bit because it can get tight. It can get tight. But I use this for if you look at all my stuff,
your tension on it.
Yeah, I don't
because
increase
it can also stretch.
Yeah, I've never, and I think it has to
tight.
do with having such a great machine. I really don't do anything with it on my Luminaire, and now I have my Avanair. So I absolutely love it. But I understand what Michelle's just talking about, and I do see when you might want to use 100 weight, because I know that we carry Invisifil, which is 100 weight, and one of the things they recommend it for is micro quilting, stitching in the ditch, because it's so fine. They recommend it for, you could do it with applique because it's so fine. And if you pick the right color, it's going to totally disappear. And it's more pliable than the monopoly.
And you mentioned applique. That was another reason, this is many years ago, why I stopped using it, but it's different now. You can have a hot iron on this and it does not melt it.
Did it used to melt?
Yes.
Okay.
It used to melt, and the stitches, it was just bad. But they have improved that to where the new monofilament, it just works. So you can iron over it and everything. So anyway, and then let's see, here's a different stitch out too. This shows a little bit bulkier threads. Here's a 30 weight, and then the 40 weight, 12 weight. I have 12. You know, I use 12 weight for hand stitching too.
Yeah, don't put that in your machine. Your
And
machine
then
is not meant for that.
I don't know what.
It's this is like a
Vermilana? Is that
Lana
another?
thread. It's like kind of like
okay.
it's almost like woolly.
Oh, so it's cotton, so it's got all the fuzz on it, as opposed to this metallic looks really pretty.
Glide thread is 40 weight. No, that's not true. You can buy glide in different weights, but the one that we usually use with like our projects, our embroidery thread is 40 weight.
Yep, that's my go-to also. So let's see. What was I gonna say?
So this is this would be the equivalent to the micro quilt. Is it called micro quilter? Is that what you were talking about?
It's superior micro quilt.
And this is the Invisifil, and this is 100 weight, and it comes in lots of different
who makes
colors.
That one?
Wonderful.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful does. And you're gonna see it's just
Same,
super fine. It'll, for the right application, 100 weight's beautiful.
It is. And that's why I would totally use that on applique. I would use that on stitch in the ditch. That's what I do on the quilters of my long arm. I use this real thin stuff, and it just disappears. On custom quilts.
If you're lazy,
really nice.
and you don't want to have all those colors, the monopoly is for you.
Yeah, it matches everything.
Then that's why I use it. It's easy, it's convenient, and it doesn't run perfectly in all machines. But my brother, it's like piece of cake. So I do use it.
That's good.
You might want to consider doing something like what Michelle's talking about, because if you're okay, invest in, we spend a lot of money on thread. It's worth it.
Oh, it is. And even all this that we're showing you, ladies and gents, is just scratching the surface. I mean, there are so many threads, it's not even funny.
Let's talk about old thread.
Oh, I didn't
What's
even bring
your
any
rule
up.
for old thread?
Throw it away.
Okay, did you hear that? How many of you have thread on wooden spools?
Yeah, those are decorations.
Yeah.
Except, you know what I seen this morning? They're coming out. Who was that? It might be Sulky. They're coming out with a thicker weight thread, and they're putting it on wooden spools.
Oh, that's going to make it beautiful, right? Because who doesn't love thread on wooden spools?
Yep, and it's only 300 yards. So, and they're real small, and it looks really nice. I seen that. I wish I could remember which side I was on. I forget. But there's other threads too that are
What
very
genre
thin.
are we going into? Okay, so
Silk.
okay. When are you going to use silk thread?
I use silk thread on. Look, there's my Hugos. I was in a block of the month years ago, and the kit that came with it was silk, and I'm like, ooh, I had never used silk before, so I wanted to use it. And this is another superior kimono silk thread, 100 weight Japanese silk.
So are you sewing with it? Are you doing handwork?
Nope, I sewed with it. I put it in my bobbins, and it was on my sewing machine, and I did the blanket stitch on all my stuff. Worked beautiful, 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 beautiful. I love it. Would I use silk thread again? In a heartbeat, without even thinking about it, yes. This is another one. This is a 50 weight silk, and it's not even really a brand or nothing.
So should we buy silk thread?
Oh yeah.
And what should we? So you were using it for applique?
Nice. Yes.
Would you use it just to piece?
No, it's
Okay.
super. It's glide is really
It's slinky.
Slinky thread.
Okay.
Feel that. I mean, it's even worse than glide.
Oh my! Oh, it feels
but it's
so
like
good.
butter. It's like butter.
It is beautiful. It feels
It is.
amazing.
It's really nice. So that's one of the specialties I wanted to show you. What do you want
How about
to talk
Vanish?
about now?
Let's talk about Vanish.
Vanish.
I love Vanish.
Vanish is a water-soluble thread, and I'm sure you use it way more than I do. It's used for embroidery. If you want to take something out.
I use it with Kimberbell anytime you're doing fringe, and if you saw that sample that Jana did, you're going to need some of this thread.
I last time I used it, I did the Kimberbell, and it was the baby in the manger, and it was the fringe around the manger.
Yes.
And here's my tip for you if you're using this. If you'll notice, this is all in plastic wrapped up, and here's my bobbin. I put it in my bobbins, depending which machine. Here's my Bernina, here's my brother. My bobbins are inside here, wrapped up. We do not want any water or any moisture or anything getting on
Oh
this
yeah,
thread.
like dog saliva, because Poppy got my glide thread, and like she loves to grab my thread, and she chewed it, and like as you pull it off, there's like spots it just comes apart because she got her saliva on it.
Yeah, you might as well throw it away and start over.
Yeah, it was a little spool.
Yeah, and this is the only spool I have of this. I don't use it very much, but I think I bought this here from you too. Don't you have that?
We do.
You do.
The
So
other
I
thing,
did buy it from her.
the other thing you might consider using it for, and the other thing I use it for is when I do my classes and I'm doing panels and I'm doing it over and over again, I use it in my bobbin because then I just wash it away and pull out my top stitches. You could also use it if you are if you're a long armor, if you're a long armor and you want to practice. And you have a quilt sandwich that you want to practice on, you can put it, I mean, you might have to adjust your tension and things like that, but you can put it in your bobbin and then you can practice and then just wet it and pull it out and then you can use that same quilt sandwich again. So how thrifty do you want to be?
That's good. Yeah, I just throw it away and get a new one.
You have so much to work on, so there's so much practice in there. But yes.
This I just want to show there's neon threads.
Okay, so we're now back into embroidery thread. So let's talk
just
about
kind of specialty stuff. Because in a different kind, like we went over cotton, went over poly. This is an upholstery thread, which is really an industrial thread. They're made out of nylon. These babies are not breaking. Okay.
And you
like
don't
your
want
old
to,
thread.
yeah, you don't want to put that in your regular bobbin case.
Yeah.
You want to make sure, because it's
Well,
not. We always tell people because
Yeah.
they come in and we're like, "What kind of machine are you looking for?" And they're looking for upholstery, and they want to run upholstery thread in their regular sit-down machine. Now your machine is not made for really, really thick thread in your bobbin.
No, this is I have an industrial, so I use that,
Yes.
or I use it for hand.
Okay.
Dog toys.
Yes.
Okay. And did you tell them how to tell if their thread is old?
How do you tell if your thread is old? How do you do?
I take it off the spool and I go pop, and if it breaks, I am not using that in my machine.
Yeah. Sometimes, okay, so when we went to the show, there were different thread manufacturers, and one of the thread manufacturers there was Candlelight.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us a sample of their thread, their embroidery thread. The price point's so incredible, but that thread, I've never used thread that strong. And we actually had issues with it. You would think stronger the better. We had issues with it because there wasn't enough give. It wasn't enough like rebound in the thread, and so we were having issues
So it was
with
messing
it.
with tension.
Yeah, it was too strong. So I am going to try some of their. Yeah, it was really, really interesting. But yeah, if it's weak, if you wrap it and it just pops apart, you don't want to put that in your project.
No. You think that would
What
be
if
like your
What
micro?
if it's old and it doesn't break? Would you still use it?
No.
Okay.
No. But you know, some thread though, you go, oh, it's brand new and it breaks really easy. That's the 2-ply short staple.
Okay.
Those short staples will break easy. So it depends what you're going to use it for, and kind of know how old your thread is. You can always put a date on it or whatever if you really are going to keep all that thread. I have little things I just.
Do you purge your thread?
No.
I never purge my thread. I have all of it. That's not true. I did throw away some old icky thread.
Sometimes, sometimes.
Can we talk about, I want to talk to you about something really important. This is something that I see in the store, and I want to talk to you about thread quality and how it makes a difference. Mm-hmm. So I had a gal that came in the other day, and she was working on a knit fabric. And I was like, you need to make sure you have the right needle. You need to make sure you have the right thread. Mm-hmm. We got her a ballpoint needle. I can't remember if it was a jersey or which one it was. And her stitches still looked bad. And I said, thread can make a difference. Mm-hmm. let's just change out your thread. She was just using, it was a cheaper brand, not going to call it out by name. I go, let's put some good quality thread in there. And I just changed it out. We just put like an isocord or something, which it wasn't really what I would use on a garment, but we put that in there. And that solved all our issues. Her thread was just laying on top. It wasn't doing, it looked horrible. As soon as we put a good quality thread in, you could see each individual stitch. I want you to be open to the idea that your thread, the thread you're using, might be making your project not look great.
Yeah.
So
because the poly, because what poly is plastic. Okay.
It looked
if
so
it
good.
Sits around, it gets hard, you know, kind of. So if it's sitting on a cone, say this is poly, it's sitting on a cone forever and ever, it's gonna be like that. It's not gonna want to really move and stuff, kind of like me when I get up in the morning. The older I get, the less my bones want to move. But that's what will happen with this thread. So, but if you have a newer poly, it's still supple and moves, and so it makes
if
a
it
difference.
doesn't look good, and you've changed your needle. I always tell people there's ingredients in every project: your needle, your thread, your fabric, your back, all of that.
Absolutely.
Be open to the fact that it might be your thread, and sometimes you're going to swap out your thread, and it's going to make all the difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Slow your machine down. Yes. Have you used elasticized thread on knits?
Yes.
I've used.
Yeah, but you have to make sure
your
tension.
Did you hand wind it? Like I've hand wound my thread.
Yeah.
And I did smocking. That's like the only thing I've ever done.
Yeah, and you have to loosen your tension and all that stuff because it's real specialized and it does not play well.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's thick. So
yeah, you have to really, stand over that baby and make sure it does what you tell it to do.
Okay, what else do we have up here? Let's talk about
You have metallics.
I've got okay.
Don't we love our metallics?
That's
dime, isn't it?
This is Kingstar, and it's distributed. I get mine from Dime.
Yeah.
So
I know because I got all my stuff from you. Oh, I love that thread.
This is the only metallic thread I know that works like a dream. And not that it's perfect, and not that it's not going to break every once in a while. But I run this on my 10 needle. I run it on my sewing machine. I run it on everything, just like regular speed, like regular thread, and it's fantastic.
The biggest thing with that is your needle. You'll have to watch the last episode.
I don't even use a special needle.
I do. I always make sure I put my metallic
they
needle
do make
in,
a metallic needle.
and I do use that.
She's good. I just run it. I just put it on my 10 needle with my regular thing, and I never have any issues. If I do have issues, that's when I'm reactive. She's proactive. I'm reactive. If I have an issue, then I'm like, I better put in my metallic needle. But if you've used other metallic threads, some of you are your wit's end and you're like, oh my God, I hate metallic thread. It's the worst. I mean, I'll do a OESD project and it'll come with the Yemet. And I will use it because it's for that project and it looks beautiful in it. But you'll see me, I'll do these on my 10 needle and I'm holding the thread and I'm babying it, and because sometimes it coils, like it just wraps up on itself, and I'm just babying it the whole time.
That's how they make it, because some spools go one way and they make it a certain way to come off a spool, and
Don't give up on metallics. Get some Kingstar.
Oh my God, I love those. I never have problems with those ever. The other ones, because they're almost like just foil or something. They just
I don't know. It's
or they're
just
plastic
wonderful.
And they start breaking.
But I did go at the show. I did meet some other manufacturers, and we're gonna order some others because there's not all the colors you want. Oh my God, they had this amazing thread. It was like a metallic with some glitter in it. It was thin too. And
every year they get better and better.
God, it was beautiful. I'm going to get some of that thread and we're going to try it out.
I cannot wait. Oh, I want some of it.
What do you have over there? Because Michelle brought so many fun things.
I brought a ton. Well, a lot of
handwork.
Well, I hope so, because I brought a lot of handwork.
Let's talk handwork. Okay. I don't do handwork since the day of I did a little bit of cross stitch with DMC and made tons of bracelets. But people are doing handwork. They're doing punch needle.
I brought some stuff. Well, first of all, DMC floss. is like a majority. I mean, I brought both these because I wanted to
Is
show you
there
how I kind of
like a
store
difference
it.
between, what would you say the difference is between like DMC floss and like pearl cotton? Does DMC sell different levels of quality of thread?
Yes.
Because I know nothing
Well,
about it.
they show different types. Like here's an anchor. Anchor thread. People go, oh, I'm never going to use anchor. Why not? Anchor is a great thread, if you ask me.
Why would
I've
some
used
people
it.
say not
They
to use
sell it.
anchor?
I don't know, because they think DMC's it.
Is
I
anchor
don't know.
cheaper? Is it
No.
cheaper?
So they're like the same. But
Okay.
you can buy it on a spool
I
like
like
this
it
too.
on the spool.
Yep, it's still 6 strands, just like DMC. I use anchor. I like it. This DMC right here, you can, this is my punch needle project I'm working on.
Oh my god.
I know, isn't that cute?
You should
remember I
see
brought
the
it
punch
in,
needle that.
but
Oh, is it in there?
What
What is that?
Well, this is a punch needle I finished using,
oh my
I think I used
God.
anchor on that one.
Okay, do you feel like we should make Michelle do a punch needle class for us? Because this came from just a picture like this, right?
Well, that was a kit, and I bought it, already had the picture stamped on there.
Okay.
So it was super easy.
Okay, let me get out
And then,
of your
see, and
way.
here's the back of it. So, and there's no, like, knots and stuff. So
Naomi
you punch
asked,
on this side, yes.
can you put metallic thread in a bobbin? I say if it's Kingstar, but I wouldn't do anyone else. And I usually don't put it in the bobbin.
I
Do you?
agree. No, I don't.
Yeah.
That I would put like deco bob in the
But
bottom or something.
I would give if you're dying to try it in the bobbin and you're doing freestanding lace like I did these nutcrackers. I might have put it in the bobbin, but I don't think I did. But I wouldn't be scared to try it if it's Kingstar.
Yeah, and if you don't get a good result, then change it out. But anyway, so this is punch needle, and the only reason I brought this is because the threads, all these threads in here are like the anchor and the DMC. And this is how you can make these, and this is called like a floss drop or whatever. All the threads are all together, and I just put them on a ring, and I have one of those aught lights next to my chair that's got the big thing comes down, and I just hook it over one of the little handles, and I have all my floss just hanging there. And these, I just haven't done that yet because I'm not to that color yet. So that's what I do with that. And then what I do, or you can have the little, little bobbin stuff. I put those on a ring too. See, these are all anchor threads.
What else are you using your DMC
So I do that.
floss for? So you're doing punch needle and, oh my God, what is that?
Well, this is wool.
Oh my.
Here's a wool project. And this I use sulky 12 weight.
This is beautiful.
And
so how did you do? Oh my
That's all hand. See, I use my machine and I applique down with my
with the blanket stitch. And what thread did you use on that?
On that, what did I use? Oh, that's Superior Omni.
Oh my
weight.
goodness. This is beautiful. Look at her wool, because did it come?
Yeah,
like
it was
that?
a kit. Yeah, yeah, it's a wool kit, and but all this is hand done, and the border is a chain stitch.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, don't you want Michelle to do this with us? It's so beautiful. This makes me want to do handwork, and you can't even no matter how good the embroidery machines are, you just can't duplicate that hand look.
I know. Yeah, no, you can't. But that's a 12 weight on there. This is a 40 weight machine, but like in here is the 12 weight, and all this where it says GL seeds and the chain stitch, that's all 12 weight sulky. And they come in on little spools, and they're in a whole thing. I was just showing you that.
I love that. How long do you think it took you to do one of those?
I really don't know.
Like
I'm in a block of the
3 hour,
and
I want to
the
do
year's
it.
Done, and I still have like 8 blocks left. Because
don't you want Michelle to do this with us
at night?
Don't you guys want some handwork to just sit down and do and look at the dimension too, like with the wool?
I love that.
I love this.
Wool. I love wool. But anyway,
are these Lori Hole patterns?
No, it's through Granny's
so
legacy.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they're doing a block of them. But now to do stuff like that, there's different threads. So like these threads right here, you can see this is a DMC. It's a number 8, and then this is it's called Fianca is Presentia. I think that's how you say it. But theirs is I don't know. I think it's a little shinier than the DMC. So that's again where you get a little bit different. Oh, and this is a number 8. So you can have a number 8. What is that? That's a number 8. It shows you right there what the number is of the floss. So that's the weight of the floss or the thickness. Like here is again the Percentia. This is a 12. So this is a little bit thinner and it's nice and really shiny. It just depends what look you're going for. Because then I have over here, I have more, whoops. Like this is Valdani. So this is a Valdani number 12. So, and it's not, and here's another Percentia. This is a number 8, but see, that's not, the Valdani is not as sparkly or as shiny as the Percentia. So you get the different threads, different size weights.
Oh my God, they're so
That's
pretty.
a 12. It says P1, but it's a 12.
And this is stuff 12 weight. I would run that in my Serger too.
Yeah.
You could add that to different
This
things.
is a number 8. Yeah. So see, but this is, I mostly use just this for handwork.
So beautiful.
But then also, what there is, and this I believe is DMC, pearl cotton. This is what you were talking about
yes.
earlier. So, no, this is RT, so you probably know I got that Hobby Lobby. But, and it was really cheap, $1.29. But pearl cotton, so this is a size 5. This is going to be a little bit weightier, more weightier than the 8 and the 12. So I have this in here for a different project that I'm working on also. So, and you just take it apart. See, and I kept that on there. I cut it in half, and I just did a really loose knot on there to hold it together and know what color and everything I'm using. And then I just wrap it up and store it in there.
There's so
that's
many.
a lot I do a lot of hand stitching, I guess.
Oh yeah. And if you ever go to Miss Michelle's studio, she has some of her stuff up in the handwork. I mean, all of her stuff is amazing. Oh. Her handwork is to die for.
Oh, and then you get into, this is for a kit that I have.
Is this also for?
This is all handwork. This is for needlepoint.
Oh my God.
Needlepoint. So look at these.
Look at this.
This
reminds me of that thread that I was telling you about. That was metallic and had glitter in it.
Is
oh my God.
Nylon
beautiful.
And rayon. But they have silk. I think this is this.
Yeah, it's so gorgeous.
Oh yeah, this is feel that feel. I know.
You guys have no idea.
God.
You have no idea.
There's so many pretty things that you can use for hand. And I just grabbed this bag and it had all this stuff. Oh, beads. Oh my God, needlepoint. Yeah. This is for a Christmas needlepoint.
So much fun stuff.
And then this is polyester, 20 yards. So it shows different counts that you can use on it and stuff. But it's not really shiny and stuff. I mean, you can get floss for anything, more silk. And then they have wool too. And this is a DMC. That's a number 5, like in the other box. Yeah, there's just so many things. So many things. I don't even know where to cross stitch. You can use that 11 to 18
together.
Count. I know. It's all for Christmas.
Just the depth.
I think it's called the Christmas Cocoa Cups.
So why don't we go ahead and see, because we've been here for an hour now. Let's go ahead and see if you guys have any questions. So I know that Faye asked, what thread do you use to hem knit pants on a sewing machine?
Knit pants?
So knit pants on a sewing machine?
Well, the stitch I would use would be that blind hem stitch, because you want something that's going to be a little stretchy. Or if you don't have a specialty stitch, I would use just a slight zigzag stitch on it.
Yeah, there's a little, if you go into question mark on your sewing machine, Faye, you can go in and... Oh, yeah. Yeah. So there's some recommendations for different, you could put in knits, and there's recommendations for different stitches that you could use. There is like a little small lightning bolt. You could also do like a triple stitch. And as far as the thread goes, there are some stretch threads, or you could just use like a polyester.
A triple stitch?
Like a triple stitch zigzag. Do you know the one that goes like that?
Oh yeah, okay. I was thinking
no,
the one that was forward, back, and forward.
Don't do that, because you need a little bit of give. But it's a triple stitch zigzag.
Something that's going to give you give on that knit.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the knit will try to give, and it'll just break the thread.
Yeah, I think I'd go poly and then choose the right stitch with the right needle.
I agree.
What else? You sound like Patrick this AM. Any other questions? Was there any other thread that we didn't touch upon that we might want to show them? I think.
Oh my gosh, there's.
You should see our thread mess right here.
Yeah, the world of thread. This is barely scratching the surface. There's so many things to know: the densities, the tensile, the way they make it, and everything. But this is, I think, mostly for what we use is a 2-ply serger, 3-ply in our stitching for cotton. The polys are the different weights, and we like the 60, 80, and 100 weights in that, or the 40 weight, or 50 weight Orifil's cotton. That's like,
and you'll
the
find your
majority.
favorite. You'll find your favorite, but I
Your
say
go-to.
try something.
Yeah.
Try something new and different. You might see that you love it. But I know a lot of us go back to whatever's comfortable that we've been sewing with, and I go back to that too. But there are so many fun threads out there for you to try and use.
Yes, it just depends what you are looking for in your finished project. What fabrics you're using, you want to kind of match your thread to the fabric that you're using. If say you're hemming up a pair of denim jeans, you're going to at least use maybe even a 30 weight thread on that. But if you're just doing, sewing up a little girl's dress, you probably just use your Orifil 50 weight.
Yep.
So.
Yep. If I'm just doing something like that, I go to my cotton.
Yes. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
So, does needle make thread work better? Oh, absolutely. Okay, let's talk about. So, Pam asked about bro thread. Bro thread, people think that's made by Brother, and it's not. And I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Do
if
the
it's
pull
working,
test on it, and then do you have a needle? Remember, and then how you test if your thread and your needle, you can thread your needle just in your hand, and then do like a little slide.
For the needle.
And if it slides down and it doesn't jump, if your needle kind of goes jump, 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 your needle's too small.
The
for
eye
that
is
thread.
too small.
So get a bigger eye, and then because your needle should just glide right down that thread, just in your hands, on a little piece of thread, and you're going, okay, I got the right size needle for that thread.
Yeah, and back to the bro thread.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, but with the bro thread, I always tell people if it's working for you and your machine is stitching with it and looks good, go ahead and use it. But that is not a Brother thread. That's a different. That's totally different brand. And with the needle, as far as Michelle was talking about, put it on there. You almost rule of thumb is like bigger as you go up in size of your thread. You might want to go up in size with your needle. We like Michelle's the other Michelle loves top stitch needle, has a bigger eye, and that'll accommodate other thread sizes.
Yep.
You can't use it. It's not your machine though. The regular machine's not made for industrial thread. So
don't use that. Industrial thread is just industrial thread. It's huge. Yeah, industrial machines have bigger eyes. Even like the needle I use on mine, there's a 14, a 16, or an 18, and I think that would be comparable to like a 110 on a machine, a 90, a 1, and a 100, and a 110. So those are bigger, and they have big eyes, and they're just different. But how about and we just scratched on the surface of everything, and we can only tell you what we like. If you guys have something else that you like you said, stick with it, because we don't know all this. This is what I am comfortable with, and in my, many years of doing this is what I found. So I stick with it, and I don't keep blinders on, and I don't not try anything else. I do try other stuff, but if it doesn't match up to what I'm already used to and really comfortable with, I won't buy it. I buy what I'm comfortable with.
Because it's been working for you.
Right, and I want to sew and enjoy. I like the journey. I don't want to rush through things. I don't want to have when I have problems, I will put stuff away and don't do it. And then my stuff doesn't get done. So I want my journey to be enjoyable.
Miss Tina, you're asking, what about embroidery thread machine? Are you talking about what embroidery thread to use with your embroidery machine? Um, we sell Isocord and Glide, and they both seem to be great.
Mm-hmm.
We also used to sell Wonderfill. It just wasn't well marketed, and a lot of people didn't recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have favorite embroidery thread that you use for for embroidery machines?
Glide.
Glide.
I mostly use a Glide, but I like the stuff that I got from you that's a dime. It was in that big, huge pack. Remember, like 200
The
cones or
exquisite
something.
or the
It was dime. It had metallic in it, but it also had the other. What it was in the whole.
Was it
big
marathon? I don't remember.
I just know it's dime thread.
Yeah.
And it's the dime thread, and I bought from her, and it was like.
I think it's the exquisite.
Is it? There's like I don't know. There's I don't know.
It was a 60 thread.
No, yeah, 100 thread or something. There was tons. And it had all the metallics in with it. And it was a couple years ago. And it's not that old, so it still stitches up.
Oh, I wonder what it is. And it had metallic ins with it.
Yeah, it was this. It was on all these green cones.
Exquisite.
Okay, so it is exquisite then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that stuff.
It's beautiful. So exquisite.
So
what I love about
Glide.
exquisite is I'd say it's comparable to the Isocord and it's comparable to the Glide, but we sell it in sets and we don't carry the individual spools. So when you run out of a color, we don't have them here for you.
Oh, yeah.
But I always tell people, don't buy the cheapest. You don't have to buy the most expensive, although you can.
Don't go on Amazon and get the one that has no name or it just has symbols. Or don't buy that. You are going to be so upset. Oh, we didn't talk about rayon versus polyester.
Let's talk about that.
Rayon, the old day rayon, even they were not color fast. A lot of people did not like to use rayon because they would use it and wash it and it would bleed all over the place. But I got into a discussion with a lady about this and she goes, I use rayon all the time. It never bleeds. So I went and I researched it, and the older rayon, like in the 90s and the 2000s, they did bleed, but they've changed that.
So it's good.
Yes, it is good. But I was reading up to getting ready for this podcast that you're doing, and I read that rayon is great and it's softer for like things for shirts and stuff, special things. But they said like if you're going to be embroidering like a logo for, say someone works in a kitchen or something, they have like the duck cloth stuff that they use for their what they put over their clothes and stuff, and they have like something embroidered on there. Something's going to get washed a lot. Rayon still up to bleach and stuff. Rayon does not hold its color as good as polyester.
It's not as hardy.
Yeah, and polyester is really, really nice and very comparable, and it's a workhorse. The rayon is more like the really nice
like
thing.
More specialty or
more special. It's softer. They said it's more pliable. If you want to put it like on a little girl's dress, it's not going to be bleached and all that stuff. That would be nice because it stays softer. It's hard to believe because polyester is really soft.
Yeah. When I first got started embroidering, I didn't have anyone to ask. I like figured it out on my own, and I bought 2 sets of thread from an online company called Marathon. And I bought 1 set in rayon and I bought 1 set in polyester, and quite honestly I just used it interchangeably. However, most of my stuff, it wasn't like really, I wasn't doing garments, it was mostly like stuff around, like if you look at the stuff here in the shop, a lot of it was done in that Marathon thread and rayon and polyester. But I've heard that polyester is going to be stronger, more durable, more heat resistant.
That's what I got out of it too.
Yeah.
But they are improving rayon. So if you have rayon that's really old, be careful what you put it on. You probably don't want to put it on kitchen towels and stuff that you're going to be washing a lot and maybe bleaching and stuff.
Do you have a Glide color chart? Yes, we sell them here at the store. You can find it online. And how to store your thread? That's a great question.
Covered. Don't leave it out. Don't do what I do and leave it sitting in your, because I've got those spool holders.
Yeah.
And I have thread, but then I don't want to like put a big old blanket hanging over my thread. It looks terrible.
Yeah.
So
I bought the spool holders, the racks that you put on the wall, and that's how I stored, because I was like, I want to be able to see it.
Yep, me too.
And then I switched, and I have drawers of thread, and I cut, like, I have a drawer with all my yellows, and when I want a yellow, I pull out the drawer, I take it, and I do it like that, and I prefer it covered.
Yep,
It
because
doesn't get dusty.
the dust breaks it down.
I totally agree with that. I started
Mhm.
out with on the wall. I bought all these thread organizers,
That's
put them on the
me.
wall,
I
and
know.
now I'm in the drawer.
Yep, because I want to look
Um,
at them.
Does thread get old? Yes.
Yes.
Uh, you sure see a lot about Madeira. So
Oh, Madeira is great. I would totally use Madeira. It's just I brought what I had.
my
that
machine
one.
hates rayon, and I think that kind of answers all the questions. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us. I hope
Yes, thank you.
that gave you a little idea about threads and like what kind of threads we use and love. And I guess just buy good quality thread and you can't go wrong, and try different
Right.
things for the right application.
Couldn't have said it better. Yeah.
All right. What's next time?
I don't know. I was so involved in this. I was on my way driving here and I'm like, I wonder what next month's is.
You know, it's A1 style. We'll figure it out as we
I
go.
know. Well, you know, if Gail was here, she would know.
Yes, Gail is organized
Gail, we
like
miss
that.
you.
We do. So, have a great day. Be creative and make something awesome. And this will get posted. So if you want to watch it later, you can. And thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you
Thank
later.
you for joining.
Bye.
Bye.
There's my ex.
Yay, we did it.